Are we live?
Yes, we're live. All right, we are going to introduce you to one of the products that is out there and active. It's the Enamel Effects. We have a few features and benefits we want to talk through. So it allows you to have a metallic or a pearlescent shine on your projects, and then it's more three-dimensional, giving you that bump in your look and feel of your project. And we're going to walk you through some options.
Let's tell them who we are.
Oh, duh. See, I do that every time. So I am Krystal Watkins. I am on the product side of things in the strategy team. And this is Leana.
Hi.
And she is on the concept art side.
I am. So you want to tell them what your job entails?
So yeah, I work on the product strategy. So we are from conceptual to getting it to the development team.
Yes. So my team and your team work closely together and helping figuring out what our products need to be.
Yes.
So
now let's show them some cool stuff.
yes. Flipping the camera here. Thank you. Thank you, Alexis. My finger's in the way. Sorry about that. Just make sure this is straight. Okay. Hopefully y'all can see. Okay. I'm just going to straighten this a little bit better. Sorry. So we're on page 136 of our annual catalog right now, and Krystal's going to walk us through some of the features and benefits of one of my most favorite products.
Yeah, so this one is adding just a little bit of extra shine with adding to the heart. So it's just taking the enamel effects and just putting it right over top of it.
And really fast, what I wanted to show with this is there's a lot of different uses that you can do with this product. So it's great if you use the tip as like a pen and you can fill in a shape that's already on our designer series paper.
Or you could get as simple as just doing a strip or a thin line down some paper that gives you that stripe.
This is a cute plaid background. Wouldn't that be fun on a card with pretty much any subject matter? Okay. This one, the way I got a more pink tone is I took these two colors. You can see those okay? Thank you. And I combined them together on the paper. I used the spatula, the palette knife, thank you. I'm horrible with remembering our names. And I mixed it directly on the paper. I did a little more white than pink, but you can play, or a little more white than red, but you can play around with what you like. And I came up with a really fun technique. And how fun would this be on the background of a card?
All right.
Okay, on these two, things got a little crazy. So what you can see is I actually just wanted to mix it with a re-inker, so I was kind of experimenting, and I mixed it directly on the paper. And what this did is it kind of stained the paper, and at first I was like, oh no, that's really sad. It's gonna ruin it. And then I realized this is kind of like a really fun mixed media look. So I did it on
darker effect look too.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this would be a great background for a project as well. And then I'm going to show you all how I'm going to do this one. It's the same kind of idea, just so you can see with how to do it on your silicone mat. And you're just going to take the white pearlized. So a tip to know, let's do that color. The enamel effects comes out of your bottle really easily when you have a nice full bottle.
Do you want to talk about if they have
issues? We can do that in a second.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'm going to take a re-inker. I'm just going to add a tiny drop to it. I only need one drop. This is going to make it kind of a liquid consistency. So I'm going to mix it with my palette knife. If I need to add more of the enamel effects, I'm definitely going to do that. So see how it's kind of watery, and it's not going to be enough to cover my background.
What is the recommended drying time?
Overnight.
Overnight.
So 24 hours.
Yeah.
And that would be if you're doing it like she's showing here, like on a paper or on the silicone to the paper, and then as well as if you're doing like embellishment three-dimensional pieces, you would still want that dry time.
Yep. Okay, so now I have that all on my palette knife. We'll pretend this is a brand new piece of paper. And I'm just gonna use, I like this big straight edge one. I don't know what this one would be referred to as, but this is my favorite, and I can just spread it out all over the background. And this pearlized Enamel Effects is so pretty. I don't know if you can see that kind of shine to it.
And I just love how it gives the different dimension within the depth when you put that down like that.
Same. Okay.
Then you have...
So this one that Krystal has, it's doing the same thing with 3 different color variations. I'm just using a baby wipe to clean this off really fast.
And then those are done out of some of our newer colors. So this is the Wild Wheat. This is going to be the Petal Pink, I believe you said?
Bubble Bath.
Bubble Bath, and then Lemon Lolly.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 that are done in that same scenario, just in some more recent colors in the end color.
Which is great because since these only come in some basic colors that are very versatile, but then you can customize it to one of your projects as well. Okay, so I have a couple of samples I can show you from our catalog. This was in the Christmas section. So it's a shaker card, which is one of my favorite things to make. But this is just using those drops tiny, tiny. So I can show you how to do that here in a moment.
And are you just using regular cardstock?
That is done directly onto the project. That's a great question. So there's a lot of different applications that you can do with this product.
And this one is another scenario of just adding it on top of your stamped image that just gives it a little bit more detail.
Let's save that one for the
Okay.
end. Okay. So I love 3x3 cards, and I love that I could add tiny little details to this. So I made this one specifically to show y'all with the Ringed with Nature stamp set. Look at me remembering names.
Awesome.
So I just wanted to make sure I picked something that felt like it was kind of a little more me.
I think it's adorable.
And then this is a really fun technique. We have another shaker card here. We can get the pieces to shake. They've been sitting for a minute. Okay, so the concept artist who created this, what they did is they did the same thing with the spatula, and then you use your die cuts, and then you can create custom little shaker filler.
Kind of shake it around. Can you see? Flip a couple of them over. Maybe not.
Hopefully those are coming through for you to see. So freaking cute. And it just adds a cute whimsical touch to your project. Something to know on all of the samples that we're showing you today, this was the only embellishment that was used. You can definitely mix them with other things, but you don't have to. So here's 2 more, kind of with a similar technique.
Yeah, so just adding that extra little elegant piece to it, or even just as subtle as a background.
And I like how the concept artist for this one did some more detail on the flower centers. I thought that was really, really fun. Okay. And then, so you don't have to just stick with a basic shape. You can definitely use it to fill in some of the spaces to create like a unique flower center. So there's lots of possibilities, like we showed you with the DSP, filling in those shapes. Do you want to grab that heart pattern one more time?
Oh, you're talking this way. Yep.
Yeah. So this was a great practice for me, and you can see some of these are just, they're not perfect, but it still would be a really cute background for a card. But this card is so adorable. It's fun. In the mini catalog too. And so what the concept artist did is she made these cute little heart shapes. So these take a little bit of practice, but they're definitely achievable. And then she just made sure she did them on the silicone mat, and then you just make sure you pick the ones that you like the most.
Yep. So stinking cute.
Okay, so
And then
go ahead.
repeat my question just so everyone can hear it, but how does this work with stencils?
I haven't used it.
Oh, so the question was, how do
Sorry.
you compare, or how does this use in conjunction with the stencils?
So I have not personally used it with the stencils, so that's a great question. I would definitely not be afraid to try it. The one thing I would say is make sure as soon as you apply that product, you wash it off.
Yeah.
I would not let it sit on your decorative mask.
For sure.
You'd want to get that off as quick as you could.
Correct. I agree with you.
And baby wipes are
Your best friend.
great for that. Yes. Okay. So I wanted to show y'all, you can use your silicone mat as a practice sheet and take some time trying to figure it out. You can see I didn't get all of these perfect, but this is like your best friend. And then what's great about these is these become more usable, or these become usable after you've made them. They will stick together a little bit, which is fine, but you can put them on your projects with our liquid glue.
And to me, this is probably the route I would use because I could never get it that precise. So knowing that you can shape them and then apply them afterwards, that just brings an element that I would like to use.
I have some snips.
They're hanging on by the way.
Oh, sorry. So I wanted to show you all, when I came back overnight and I had set this up, how these two glued themselves together. They kind of merged into one. You could throw this away because it's just practice, but you can also just take your snips and just shape it better.
And it looks like you had never had a mess.
So I do have a recommendation. I would say the bigger ones I feel like look better on a scrapbook page. And so practice first on your silicone mat. When you're more comfortable, you can definitely do the smaller ones directly on your project.
And then if you're storing them in here, making sure that you shake them around because they will kind of stick a little bit together.
Yep.
So.
Okay, so I want to show you one more technique, and that's let's just create the basic drop. Because I know that's sometimes the most intimidating thing. Try that off. We'll just flip it over. So when you take your Enamel Effects, the Enamel Effects wants to come out of the bottle, and it actually wants to come out in a circular shape. So I push the tip all the way to the mat at kind of like a 45-degree angle, I would say.
45.
And I just start squeezing. When I get it close to the size I want, I will move the tip of the bottle around until I don't have any more attached.
You're just kind of creating a little bead.
Does that make sense?
And then just kind of swirling it till you lose the product.
And you can go as big or as small as you want.
Can you color the dried drops with blends?
Yes. The question is asked, can you color the dried drops with blends? That is a great question. And that's actually the next thing I wanted to show y'all. So I've pre-done this ahead of time. And I have a light starry sky marker, or you could use the dark, depending on the concentration level that you want. And I'm just going to come right in. And I love doing it on the silicone mat because if I get any excess marker on the mat, it's easy for me to clean off. And just go right over it. Because you can imagine that would be so messy on a project.
Yeah. Just gives you that extra element of security.
Yes. Okay. Any questions on how to form just like a basic shape? That's where I feel like I was kind of nervous with it at first when I started playing with it.
Also the basic use that most people are intimidated by.
Yes.
They want it to be precise. And I think just over time, repeative trying it and getting that exercise down with your hand and the movement will really give you that achievement. I mean, look at how amazing.
So we can try. We'll try. I might mess up, but let's try a heart. This was just the way I found it was easiest for me. I kind of make a vertical line going down, and then I start at the bottom and go up the other side.
And I really feel like it's all in the, depending on the person and the pressure they're putting behind it. So it's really kind of one of those that you would want to kind of repeat until you feel comfortable.
Let me think, is there another tip I can tell you? What I will do is I'll squeeze the bottle to get out what I want while I'm going around trying to get the end, the leftover amount off. I still have the bottle squeezed because I find I get less air bubbles this way. And if I make a mistake, so should I purposely make a kind of messy one if I can?
You kind of perfected it.
So let's pretend that's not quite the right shape I wanted. I am obsessed with this new tip for our Take Your Pick tool. Do you remember what it's called in the catalog?
I can look it up.
What I love, it has this little hook end that you can use to clean out your dyes. But what I love is I can use this while the enamel is still wet. You don't want to let it sit too long. And I can go through and clean up if I get it a little too far off. And what it will do is once it's dried and I pop it off the mat, do I have any? Kinda, yeah.
It's just Take Your Pick crafter tips.
Okay.
So it just comes with a couple different tips.
I pop it off the mat and see where I went around it while it was still wet. Then that part stays on here and then I have my little drop. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's any other.
I walked away to get the answer, but did you talk about the cleaning?
Oh, that's a great answer. The wipes, or great question. The wipes are the best thing for getting this off as quickly as possible. I would still recommend going to the sink and washing it off with a little soap and water, but this will help get most of it off.
And the clogging?
And what I discovered, my red one was clogged the other day. And so this tip fits in so nicely. Only because I'm live, right?
Yep.
That tip fits in so nicely. And you can clean out a clog that way. And it doesn't destroy the nozzle of your bottle. So that's really important to know. Okay, we have one more thing to show. And oh, one other tip too with this spatula end. You can also use that. So like maybe you make a mistake. This is nice to help just clear off whatever you got on the silicone mat to begin with. And then you can go back in and clean it up. Okay. So both of those ends work really nicely. Okay, so what I did is I took, let's see, these three, this one that comes with all of the metallics, and I wanted to make something showcasing all three of them on a project, kind of like how we did this and customized the colors. But I figured it's easier to show what it comes like out of the bottle. And then, oh, my little bow just came undone. And then what I did is I let it sit for about an hour and I ran it through with the embossing folder. The Embossing Basics.
Embossing Basics, the 3-pack.
And these are an online exclusive product, right?
Correct, yep.
So if you can see it.
It just adds that extra element with the emboss, and it just is super, super shiny with that wonderful detail with it. It just looks super, super sharp.
Okay, so that kind of, I think that covers it. Do you have any questions on Enamel Effects? This, I will tell you, this is like my most favorite go-to thing out of the current annual catalog. I used it all the time.
Kind of show some of the projects we showed.
Someone asked what colors do they come in?
So there is the real red, and then the pearl white and the silver. And it's actually like this. So it has the 3-pack that's the black, the white, and the real red is 1 pack. Then you've got the bronze, the silver, and the gold as the other pack. And this is the metallics, and this is the pearl.
And for the ones you colored, does it still have a pearlized sheen after you color it?
If you look here, so these are still kind of wet, but you can still see some of the pearlized coming through. It does dull it a little bit, but I definitely would not like, I like it with kind of a more matte look too, in addition. So I kind of like the look that it creates.
So with the blending brush and then with the mix of the color, you can still see the pearlescent on these as well. Just
with the spatula tool, the palette knife.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. So the blending brush on, or the blending marker on here, and then the palette on here, you can still see
yes,
the shimmery pearlescent shine.
And the metallic on this one.
Yeah.
How long do you suggest to let the enamel effects dry before running through an embossing folder?
I let the enamel effects dry for about an hour, and then I did it. I wanted the surface still to be a little bit tacky and not quite resistant to the pressure, but you can experiment with it. You definitely don't want it to feel too tacky to the touch.
And you'll also want to make sure that you're removing with a wipey or something after
Yes.
anything that's left
I
behind.
didn't have any residue left over, so.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I think the only other question is, what was the development of this process like?
Oh, Krystal can definitely speak to that.
So the development process was a little bit lengthy process, just because you want to make sure that you get the colors right, and we always want to have those Stampin' Up! Colors specific. So we did take a few renditions to get that, just so that it aligns with our DSPs, our cardstock. But other than that, it was a really fun product that really kind of adds that extra element to a project.
So we created these three first. This was our first set released in the
Holiday
September
of
to
22.
December 2022 catalog, and then these are brand new to the annual catalog that's live now.
Correct.
Oh, one other tip I wanted to tell you. I don't have any samples here. Well, this one shows it, but I don't have any samples here that show white on stamping. One thing to note, if you do it on a stamped image, if you use white, it will pull the color through. It's not bad, it's just whether or not that's what your intention is.
It's kind of like when you're mixing inks, it's always going to pull the darker color. So you're just wanting to make
Yes.
sure you're keeping that in mind as you're creating.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, thanks y'all.
Thank you. Have a good one.
We're gonna flip it around. Sorry, my hand is in the way.
Let me see.